Show. Today, I have a wonderful guest, Elisa Boogaerts, and she's going to talk to us about key strategies for organizing a winning launch. Welcome again, everyone. I'm Virginia Parsons, your host, and it really is my passion to provide you, the viewer, with a gold mine of inspirational tips, strategies, and advice to help you grow your business from what I call inspirational businesswomen in the know. They know what they're talking about, and they're going to bring you incredible ideas to help you grow your business. So thank you for being here with us today. I know your time is valuable. So we're going to make sure that we cut to the chase and get you this valuable information very shortly. Now, before we get started, I'm going to play a preview trailer. Now, this is an opportunity for all of you to do a couple things. Really get excited about what Elisa is about to share with us. And also, if you know someone who might benefit by this information, who maybe has been struggling to do a launch effectively and successfully, go ahead while the preview trailer is running and let them know about this broadcast. We want to make sure that as many people as possible can benefit by this wonderful knowledge of Elisa's. So I'm going to play that now, and you go ahead and let people know about it, and we'll start the interview right after that. All right, I think you can see that we're in for a real treat. Plus, stick around to the end because Elisa also has a fabulous gift for you. Now, today's show is sponsored by hangout-marketing.com, where you can receive a complimentary live stream marketing assessment. Now, this assessment will only take you a couple minutes. And why should you take it? Because it's going to help evaluate for you where you stand in being an influence and an authority in your market using live stream technology. So go ahead and take advantage of that, and you might even qualify for a complimentary Shine Online session with me as well. All you need to do is go to hangout-marketing.com if you're out of the country. And if you're in the US, you can simply text 775-800-4179. Take that assessment in a couple minutes, and I look forward to hearing from you and supporting you in your growth as an authority. All right, so let's get into today's topic with Elisa. Now, here's the thing. If you are wondering how to successfully launch your new program or service, my special guest, Elisa Boogaerts, I'm getting that name correct, is here to take away the guesswork. She is an experienced system specialist and launch manager. She helps coaches launch their programs and events while working with them to set up systems to keep their business organized and running smoothly. So today, what she's going to reveal is, number one, how to set up your biz for less stress and more success. Number two, the essential steps to crafting a repeatable launch system. And third, metrics that matter, tracking your launch for ongoing success. Now, before Elisa becoming a coach, She had a 23-year corporate career working in international Fortune 100 and 500 companies as a technical program manager. Oh, yes, she's been around the blocks a few times. And therefore, it was her job to keep herself and everyone she worked with organized when launching new products or when launching new software. So she is the gal to share with us just what we need to do in order to launch successfully one of our services or programs. So Elisa, come on in and say hi to our audience, won't you?
Hi, everyone. Hey, Virginia. Thank you so much for having me and for the intro. Wow.
I love giving you the credit that you deserve. You know, when I bring a special guest on, it's really to help educate my audience who are all growing solo, mostly solopreneurs, entrepreneurs who are sometimes struggling to get the word out about what they do. They have great passion and great skill sets, but not always what they need to know or what they need to do in order to let the world know about what they're up to. So I love that you're here helping us understand the strategies around launching. Because you know what? Launching to me is so exhausting. I've done it a number of times. It is not my favorite thing to do. And so I know I'm going to learn a lot from you today as well, because it is about the systems, it's about repetition that you're going to talk about so that once you get it set up, I know you can rinse and repeat and have a lot less stress. So, yes, I'm in for this information from you as well as I know our audience is. Now, before we get started, I want to say to everyone viewing here today, when you hear a gem, when you hear a great idea from Elisa, put it in the comments section. We want to know what's resonating with you. So please be involved in the broadcast and let us know what really stands out for you as Elisa shares her brilliance today. Okay, Elisa, I'd love to know, first of all, a little bit about your background. You know, a lot of years, you said 23 years in
Mhm.
corporate America, working for big companies who did
Yeah.
lots of launches. So you've obviously had the experience. Tell me a little bit more about that and how that evolved into what you're doing today.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah, it's interesting when I think about it, like one of my first corporate jobs, I remember being on this first project and it was like the very beginning of my career and I was responsible for ordering and coordinating equipment for restaurants, like new and renovating restaurants like, for this particular company across Canada. And one of the vendors, they called me up and they couldn't deliver this HVAC system on time and it was going to be delayed for several weeks and this was going to like, mess up the entire project. And so I went to my managers and I had they were telling me like all the things I need to do, which at the time just seemed like a million things to resolve, and I think I was just sort of looking at them like wide-eyed, like, uh-huh, sure. What? And my manager's like, you might want to write this down. And I think they just kind of knew that there was no way I was going to remember all of it, right? And I think that was the day that I learned, the importance of like taking notes and setting up systems. So I knew exactly like where everything was in times of chaos, right? And I really learned about efficiency. And this was kind of sort of the start of my project management career and really the beginning of my superpower of being this like organized planner person. And this is eventually what sort of led me to being a confidence coach and a launch manager and starting my own business because I've basically been project managing sort of my entire life. And I know that these are skills that not everyone has. So I want to really like share my superpower with the people that I love the most, which is coaches. I love working with coaches.
Yeah.
And yeah, I'm just this like super organized planner person. And I'm all about systems and plans and processes and documentation. And I use my years of my project management experience because of that 23 years, I think about 13 of that was project management. And along with my coaching experience and kind of my superpower to help coaches who are maybe more like big picture thinkers. I know there's so many of us that just want to coach, right? And there's
Mhm.
like the bits of the business and even what you were saying, like it is exhausting. I don't want to do it. It's not really that much fun. And so I help them, yeah, launch their events and programs and work with them to make it kind of easier so things can run more smoothly.
Yeah. And that's really what people are looking for. It's not that launching in itself is bad, it's that there's a timeline And there's a lot of pieces to pull together. I know I was also doing challenges, and then I was doing webinars. I was adding all of these elements to it. And then, of course, you're working with JV partners, and you're working with your list growth and other people's list growth. And then, of course, there is the actual program or service you're launching, which, if it's a program, is something that you have to have already have outlined, done all the funnel pages for, right?
Yeah.
Done all the follow-up emails for. Oh,
And
I could
promoting
go on and
yourself, right?
on.
Speaking gigs as well, right? And doing these kind of
Yes,
things to promote
yes,
yourself and get your name out there and your
yeah,
lead magnet. And yeah, it's huge and it takes months.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. So everyone take a deep breath. Ah, you can do this, especially with Elisa's guidance, right? You can do this. Launching is still an important part of an online business. And it's really something that you at least need to wrap your brain around so that you can take the steps. And of course, as she said, several months, you can take baby steps and do this as well. It's really a matter of putting all the pieces together, isn't it, Elisa?
Yes. Yeah. And knowing that like if you sort of have everything sorted and you have systems in place, you can just focus like this week I'm doing this week I'm doing this, and then it's manageable and it's easier and you can just step by step and it'll all fall into place.
Yeah. So that brings us right into the first topic, and that
Yeah.
is how to manage and set up your business for less stress and more success. So I can't wait to hear your tips and strategies on this.
Yeah, so I think that something that gets sort of missed when we start like a new business or if people sort of are switching businesses or what have you is when we look at like we really want to get our filing systems and our documentation sorted out. So this is kind of for the coaches out there who may be struggling because they haven't properly set up their business. So their files are sort of like everywhere and you just sort of spend like way too much time searching for them. And in the project management world, this is called configuration management. And I know you can't get more corporate than that. So I do apologize. It's still kind of like in my system. I can't quite get rid of the lingo, but it's basically how you file your files. And it's not just how you file your files, but also like how you name them and how you like organize or do your filing system, because you really want to have a consistent naming convention for things. You can find like anything, anytime, and everything needs to be somewhere where everyone can also find it. So that if you do have a team or eventually you grow or you get a VA or something like that, that everyone in your team can also be able to find them. No more things getting lost because, they're all in different places. I was in this presentation once, excuse me, and it was with a very successful business coach, and she accidentally shared her desktop instead of her presentation. And I think we were all sort of staring in horror because she looked like she had like 100 different files on her desktop. And
Yeah.
someone eventually told her that we could only see her desktop and it was not her presentation. And she was like, oh, oh no, we definitely do not want to see my desktop. Oh no, no, no. And I'm really sorry if that traumatized anybody. It was hilarious. And it took her a little minute to kind of like gather herself and she was like a little embarrassed. And then she kind of continued on with her presentation. So yeah, so I don't want anybody to kind of to be like that. I don't want to have like a gazillion things on your desktop. And if something is on your desktop, like nobody else in your team can have access to it as well, which can be hard. If someone like gets sick or they're unavailable or the internet stops working, that can be it can be a bit of a stressor when you have all the things that you're doing for a launch. So file things away, and it'll also improve the performance of your computer. The less things you have on your desktop and the more things you have on the cloud, the better your computer will work. So that's always helpful because if
Okay,
you have
let's
too
pause
many,
there. Let's
yeah,
pause there. I mean, that is a gem. I want you to think about this, everybody, because I know and have had so many clients who have, first of all, had this problem. They can't find anything. They don't remember where they downloaded it and put it because they
yeah,
don't have some conventions in place. So I want to dig a little deeper there. But did you hear what she said about when you keep things on your desktop? Number one, they're not available to anybody else. They're only on your desktop. No one else. You can't share them with anyone else that way, unless you send them off to them. But someone else can't find them, and it slows down your computer. So there's lots of reasons to have your desktop be cleared off. And you know, I just think that people get so confused when they don't get a system together. It's like all their productivity goes into searching for things. And I can't tell you with the clients I've had how much time has been spent looking for something because they haven't. Sometimes I'm teaching them, do a course in Canva where I teach them how to create their own video that markets them, that brands and markets them. And I say to all of them, as you're putting the pieces together, they're going to go into this video. I want you to put them in one file and know exactly how you name that file and exactly where you put it. Because before we start the workshop, I don't want you wasting time looking for this stuff. So
Exactly.
I know exactly what you're talking about. So let's
And
go a
even
little bit.
then, like
Yeah, go
when
ahead.
you think about it slowing down your computer, like that can impact other things. Like if you're doing something like this or you're on a Zoom, or say you're actually like doing your program and you have a group of people and you're on Zoom, and then you get the spiring ball of death, and you're sitting
Yeah,
there, your whole computer freezes, like nobody has time for that. And so like
yeah.
it avoids that for sure. It's, yeah. So
Oh, wow. Yeah. I mean, well, let's talk a little bit about the conventions. Could you share a bit about the filing conventions, how you name files so that other people can also find them?
yeah, so I like to, like, if you think about yes, you want to name it so that it's sort of like blunt and very obvious as to what it is, and organize your files and keep the things like, so if you, for example, I have like my talks, if I do different talks and different summits, I have like a talks file and I have my different summit files, and they're named. And you can also think of if you want to date something, like how do your dates work? Is it month, year? Do you want to have like all 4 things for the year? And even versioning, like if you update something, do you want to like save it as a version? And what does that kind of look like so that all your files sort of look the same? Because sometimes, people put the date at the beginning or they put the date at the end or something like that. So if you can kind of make that consistent.
Hmm.
And you also want to have them make sense for everybody, right? So if you name it, you want it to like something that you can understand, but then also somebody else can understand. So like if you get a VA or if you're scaling and you get more staff, or even if you have a project manager that helps you out, right? That everybody will understand how it's structured and what it's called. Because I've done that sometimes too, where I'm like, I'm going to name this thing. And then later I'm like, what did I call that again? It didn't really make sense. Or I find it, I'm like, why did I call it that? So yeah, kind of make it simple, I would say.
Well, it is one of the beautiful things about our computers these days is that they do have a wonderful search mechanism. So if I have done what you're talking about, where I think I knew what I named it, and then I can't find it right away, I will just go into the search in my files and put
Yeah.
one keyword. And usually it will find it and show me exactly where I put it and said, oh, okay, now I found it. But that's not as efficient as just plain knowing what folder it's in. And
Yeah.
also think about stacking, I would say stacking folders inside of folders. Like if you're
Yes.
talking about your talks, I'm sure inside there you have folders for each of your individual talks and, the information that you need, maybe images around that you would use and all of those things that pertain to it inside that talk folder. So a folder inside a
Exactly.
folder makes sense and
Yes.
also keeps things neater as well.
Yes. Yes. Because it can be hard if you have one folder that has like 100 documents, trying to kind of scroll through that can be difficult. So if they're a little bit more folderized, yeah, for sure.
Well, good. So that's already great information. That makes it less stressful. I'm just glancing over to my notes here for you. So we've got topic 2, and this is on actually the essential steps to creating a successful, repeatable, I think that's the term, repeatable launch system. Because once you go through this and all the steps you said could take months to get together, you
Yeah.
certainly want to be able to do it more than once. So let's hear about those
Exactly.
steps, Elisa.
Yeah, well, it all starts with putting a plan together. So like I love planning so much, and that's one thing I really work with my clients on, is putting a plan together, because you want to have one for each launch or each project or each event that you have, and create a template for your plan. So that is there and it's ready to go and you can adapt it as needed. So I like to have a folder that has templates, so you can just sort of grab that, copy it, rename it. And when you start planning, I like to just sort of do a bit of a brain dump and list out all the tasks that are needed to happen for that launch. You can start, yeah, like a brainstorming session, and then you can group them and map them out in order. So for example, if you're doing like a summit, you might have tasks specifically for the speakers, and then maybe you have tasks specifically for the participants. And so I literally make like a checklist, and you can get it as detailed as you like. And then, so I do this, the easiest thing can be to use is like a Google Sheet. So you like
Mhm.
list out all your tasks, and then you can start adding in dates for when the tasks need to happen. And I really like to work backwards from the date. So say the date of the program start, or the date of the summit, and work backwards from there, and add in all the dates for the different tasks. You can use like a Gantt chart if you like to do that, to map out the timelines to kind of see them. And then sometimes you might have a one line item on your plan, and say within that one item, it itself has like 20 tasks, right? So for example, if you're launching a new program and you want, say, a new freebie for it, like a lead magnet or a gift, right? And I'm
Mhm.
sure some of you have heard, like, I know that I've been told this, where business coaches have said to me, don't spend more than 30 minutes on your freebie. I'm like, okay, but that's probably just for the creation of it. But what about all the other things I got to do, right?
Right.
Like,
Right.
do you need to set up affiliate links for it? So when you speak on a summit or offer a freebie as part of a promotional marketing efforts of your new program, you might want to, how many signups you got, or, how many people that on the form of that summit, or, maybe eventually it'll convert into a client and the host might, want some commission for that. Do you
Mhm.
need a landing page for it? Do you need a thank you page for the landing page? And on that thank you page, do you want to have a little video? And if you do, then you got to do the video. You got to record it maybe on Zoom, and then download it and upload it to YouTube and get the link or copy the code, put that in the landing page, right? Do you need to create
Been
an
there, done
image
that
for it?
many times.
Yeah, yeah. You need to create an
Yeah.
image for it. And do you need to have
Yes.
that in different social media formats? Do you need to have like a welcome series for the freebie? Do you need to turn on put all those emails, say, through like Grammarly, to make sure that they're written properly? And do you want to send them to yourself to make sure that they look good, and test your links, and do these emails link out to booking a sales call eventually, and then do you need to have that set up in Calendly? Do you need to tag? Do you need Zapier? Do you need, like, there's all these things. And if I'm
Yeah.
talking right now and I'm not even like halfway through everything, but if you're just like, like
All
maybe
right, you guys.
it might take more than 30 minutes, even if you're
Thank you
using
for bringing that
ChatGPT.
up. That is a great example of why you need to have organization and you need to have systems set up, because there is a lot to do, especially if you're a new emerging entrepreneur. So don't feel like you have to have this all done at once. But yeah, you could do your gift itself in 30 minutes, but I will tell you this, most people can't even do that in 30 minutes. They're putting their heart and soul into something that's going to be the first reflection and the first taste of them. So, in my opinion, even 30 minutes just to create the gift is really misleading to people. And I
Mhm.
really think that they're going to want to put more into it, more of an expression of authenticity, more of giving of themselves. And I always say that's, as I said, that's the first taste. That is where people are going to consume it and decide whether or not they want to take the next step with you. So anyone who might even imply that you can get a quality, what I would call compelling free gift in 30 minutes is, I think, being fraudulent, quite frankly. That is very misleading. So I'm just putting my 2 cents in there. And then you're hearing from Elisa that there, yes, are lots of steps involved with making it a free gift that flows well, that really truly is inviting to people, that uses the right wording to invite people to take advantage of it. And then, as she said, all the other things she just flew through because she's done this so many times.
Yeah.
Oh, we haven't even gotten close to the launch or the product development.
Right. Yeah. It's like one of the
So,
pieces.
yeah, so I don't
Yeah.
want you all to be overwhelmed, because it is a system that you can put together and put the checklist and put the dates down. And I like to, eat the elephant one bite at a time, right?
Exactly. Yeah. And with something like this too, if you have your plan and there's one line on it that says, create lead magnet, and now we know that there's many things involved in that, you could create a separate document for it. And so you
Yeah.
have like, this is my system for creating a lead magnet. And you could even put your email templates in there for your welcome series. You can maybe reuse them if you wanted to, and you can link to that document in your plan. So create things, you have a little note section and do a link to that document. So, and then it's repeatable.
Yes, yes. And you've made a template. So I
Yeah.
always also encourage people to say, look, version one is better than version none. So you're
Right.
not after perfection either here. You're just after getting these tasks done, getting them in order, checking them off and saying, oh, I got that done.
Yeah.
And not only that, you're in a position to say, I got that done. So it's going to be easy to repeat it now because I've templatized it as well as getting it done, which I think
Yes,
is
and
a
the
very
beauty of
valuable
doing
tip.
the template as well is that, and like having the sort of second document with your steps, is that it's so easy to forget one step. And then the panic comes in when you realize that you missed that one step. Like I think once I did that where I forgot to turn, no, I forgot the tag, which started the automation, right? So someone came with freebie, the
Yeah.
tag, like it was there, but I didn't put it to do the welcome series. And I think that there had maybe been 10, 15 people who got my freebie, and I was like, they didn't get the email. What happened? Like, oh, I forgot that one step. And so
Yeah.
it's even if you're a seasoned entrepreneur or coach, it's good to always kind of reference that and be like, did I do everything? So then there won't be that panic, crazy panic afterwards, or kind of feel like you have
Yeah.
to grovel back to those people and be like, sorry, here's your link.
It happens.
It
I
happens,
had an
yeah.
interesting thing happen yesterday where I went over my email limit with my email provider. I was only 2 days short of it, but I had several people who had opted in for one of my free gifts, and they weren't getting the email because of that limit. So I had to go in and up my limit so that everyone could get their gift. Otherwise, would be waiting for 3 days. And no, you don't want to do that either. So
Right. Yeah.
there,
Yeah.
there are a lot of things to pay attention to when you're marketing online. Fortunately, there's a lot of things that have become available for us that weren't even available 10, 15 years ago that make things easier and make it easier to systematize. So,
Yeah.
so that's wonderful. Do you have any tools that you suggest beyond? I mean, you were just basically talking about a Google Sheet for working with, which is, free and easy. But are there any other tools that you really love that are, sort of essentials in your toolkit?
I like to use Notion for like
Oh, I
my
haven't
sort
heard
of
of
like
that.
my task management thing. They also have like it's like a board that you can move things along, and you could also create a plan. So you sort of have your Gantt chart. So I really like that for if I'm looking at my year. So I
Hmm.
just recently did this, right? And so I could actually map it out and be like, okay, if I want to do a summit in May, I'm probably gonna have to start thinking about that in March. And then in March, I'm also doing this, which I had to start thinking about already. And so
Hmm.
yeah, I'd like to use Notion, and of course, any sort of email automation system that you might use. I
Yes.
use MailChimp, but
Uh-huh.
there's so many out there.
Oh, yeah, definitely. But
Yeah.
Notion I had not heard of. I
Mm.
use Trello a lot, which I really like, the Trello boards. It's kind of a similar thing where you can put the steps in order and move them around as you want to.
Yeah, yeah, and you can
But
assign people, and yeah, Trello is great as well. I like that.
yeah, yeah. Okay,
Mhm.
good. Well, anything else along those steps that you want to go over with us?
I was just gonna say that I think it's good to plan time in for documentation, especially if it's the first time you're kind of doing it. And I know it sounds incredibly boring, but a bonus for this is that you can use this document, like you're saying, you have a template, you have a system, and you can even use it as training material. So if you do eventually get a VA or people that you bring on board to help you with your launch, it can be there for something for them to reference. And that just make sure if you do have a document that exists to update it regularly if things change.
Of course, yes.
Yeah.
All right. So let's talk about the metrics now. You say metrics
Mhm.
that matter, tracking your launch for ongoing success. So that's we've gotten through all the checklists and all the templates that we've created, etc. But now you're into launch mode and you need to know how it's going. So tell us a little bit about the metric part of it.
Yeah, I really like to track everything so that like nothing falls through the cracks, and so that you can also know your numbers and you can kind of speak to them with ease. And I know there's so many different things that we can track, and I suggest kind of tracking them all. Again, you can use Google Sheets, which can be super easy, because even in a program launch, you can have different tabs within the Google Sheets. You can have your plan on one tab, and then to track different things in different tabs. So say you're launching like a summit and you need information from the speakers. So you can have a tab to track, the speakers and what they provided you. And so it's all like in one place to find. And an amazing tip for this is that if you use a Google form for the speakers to like give you all their information and their links to their bio and their picture and all that, you can actually connect the Google form with the Google Sheet. So it puts it as a tab in your Google Sheet and it automatically updates. And then you can put it's called conditional formatting. So it's like this little thing being like, if this, if something is empty, you can have it like highlighted as red so that you know what you're missing from any speaker.
Oh, that's great. Yeah.
Yeah, I love that. And I love how it just automatically updates as people, update their information or add more speakers, and it's just right there and you can know exactly where you're at.
And what are you using for that? You said a another
Google form.
Google form. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah,
Yeah, I've
and you
used
can
Google
connect the
Forms.
Google form with Google Sheets and it puts right in your sheet there for you,
Got
which
it.
is really awesome. Yeah, so I like to track things like your links to things, like your landing pages, your files, maybe your booking pages, your payment pages. So that's good things to have. It's like you could have like a link tracker. Yeah, if you do have JV partners, who's helping you promote your launch. How many maybe JV partners do you need? What commissions are you paying out? What dates are they going to promote? The affiliate links for them. And yeah, we talked about the speakers. And then even for say if you're doing like a master class or a workshop, what do you want to track with that? Do you want to track clicks, signups, the show up, people who showed up, maybe who stayed if you're doing a pitch at the end, who stayed to the end, how much revenue did you make, how many expenses were involved in that. Yeah, so it's all about setting up systems, and for tracking, you can also set up a system for it. So a system can be, when are you going to update your tracker? Like, will you do it daily or weekly, or maybe after a certain meeting? Like I know, and I suggest setting aside time to actually update your tracking. That way you won't kind of get distracted by it, because sometimes, you can kind of like, oh, I'm just going to update it all the time. And maybe it might be good just to block out some time so you can sort of focus on it. Because sometimes we can get sort of busy in the work and sometimes we avoid it. So I would suggest scheduling in some tracking time. Like I like to, if I meet with some JV partners, I like to update my JV tracker on a Tuesday at the end of the day. So create little systems like that.
Oh, systems.
Yeah.
They make so much sense once you get them set up. And obviously, Elisa is the one to do that for you. One of the other things I think is worth tracking, and some of the programs that I work with will do it for you, is tracking how long people stay on, for instance, a master class, because it's going to tell you whether or not you're losing them for a reason. They're losing interest, you're not moving fast enough, or you're not giving them compelling information. So if you see a group of people dropping off at a certain time on your master class, it's going to say you may want to go back in and tweak it, make it a little more
Yeah.
compelling at that point.
Yeah, it's
So
amazing data that you can use to kind
yes.
of see what's working and what's not working. Yeah.
Yeah. So I love this. So there's so many things. I don't think we can possibly go into all of them today, but you just got a bundle of strategies from Elisa. And she also has a gift, because remember, we talked about that in the very beginning, that she has a gift. So let me bring up the gift and let her tell you a little bit about it. Now, Elisa's gift can be found, if you're just listening, at shinetips.com/Elisa gift. ELISA gift. And if not, I will also have this link for you in the comments, and you'll be able to just click on it as well. But Elisa, tell them what this is all about. What are they wanting to go over there and click on it for?
So my gift is called 5 Tips to Keep on Top of Everything. So if you kind of hearing us today and you're like, oh, maybe my filing system's a little bit messy, or my calendar, or my to-do list, or my email sequence, or media files or admin stuff is little bit sort of messy or a bit of a dog's breakfast, these 5 tips can really help you stay organized, to organize yourself and your business so you can be more efficient and more productive and really keep on top of everything. And I created this because I'm quite organized. I think, like, when it went back to my story at the beginning, kind of started at the beginning of my career. And people say that to me. They're like, oh, you're so organized. Like, how are you so organized? And I was like, how am I organized? So I just sort of thought about it, and I was like, okay, well, these are actually the 5 things that I do all the time to keep myself organized. Like, I actually do all of these, and that's what people say, that I'm so organized. So I just thought I would share them with you.
Sounds wonderful. Once again, go to shinetips.com/Elisa gift, and you can pick up those 5 things from her. Well, this has been a wonderful interview. I really could have gone on for hours with you because you have so much experience, and I can just tell it's just bubbling from you. So all of you, take advantage of her gift, number one. And if you are struggling with getting a launch put together, I'm sure you'll have an opportunity to chat with her and find out more about the services that she provides. So I highly recommend that. And don't let a launch intimidate you. Don't let it make you step back and say, it's not for me, because it's only just a matter of going through the steps, as she said, and breaking them down into smaller steps. And then once you've got everything in place, it's repeatable. So I'm very excited for all of you to take advantage of what she's offering today. Elisa, do you have any final parting words of wisdom for us all that we can take home with us today?
I just like to say, like, take the time to set up your systems. And I suggest kind of doing it early on, so you already have it. And it just really makes things flow so much easier. So give yourself that time, like, really do. And just let yourself sort of sit down and think it through, like, what do I need to do? And then systematize it. Yeah.
Sounds like a plan. Thank you so much. Everyone, thank you for being here today. I know you got lots of great value from Elisa. And I want to thank you all for helping spread the word about this broadcast so that other people can benefit as well. And we'll all see you on the next Inspirational Businesswoman Show. Thanks so much, Elisa.
Thank you so much for having me.
Bye-bye now.
Thanks so much for watching today. Do you know someone who would be a great guest for our show? Or would you like to be a guest on the Inspirational Businesswoman Show? Let's shine the spotlight on your expertise. We'll share your story while offering tips, strategies, and advice to our viewers. Expert interviews are a great way to build your reputation as the go-to expert. Go to shinetips.com/IBWS to apply today. Women are waiting for your message, and I can't wait to interview you.